either, but it seems like a good idea.
Sure it does.
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody, this is Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. And to my left, your right, for those of you who don't know, is my good buddy, Bobby Dill. And Bobby came by the shop today, drove, 500 miles? Let's round up. Drove 1,000 miles
there
to come to the shop today.
Uphill both ways.
And so you're picking up a guitar, you're dropping off a bunch of stuff, you're picking up some stuff, and you were talking about Gibsons and flying V's and getting sued, and I thought, well, to heck with it, let's just have Bobby Dill come. Well, we may eventually get to what we're scheduled to talk about, but if we do, no one's gonna care. So,
well, I can be Chris. You can say, "Is that right?" I go, "Sure."
You know, hey, so Bobby, how was the drive? It was
really a good drive. Nice. It was, I wasn't sure what it was going to do because all the snow you guys had gotten on the way. But yeah, there's snow on the side of the road, a bunch of cars on the side of the road, but clear sailing.
So what do we have? What do you want to talk about? Let's talk about Gibson Flying V's. Let's talk about how many they made in 58 and how many they made since then. And let's talk about Lonnie Mack, and let's talk about what you're into and what or whatever you want to talk about. I mean, let's
talk about this beauty.
Okay.
The idea, how long ago was that? 3 years?
It's like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So we could send like right at the camera.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. So so you guys can see that one there. Here, you want to put this pad over here. So okay. All right. Okay, good deal. So so we started this. Well, it's been a long time.
Yes.
And
I had the idea. I have an old one, and it's just wore out. I mean, it's been worked on so many times, and it's basically furniture now. Mm-hmm. And I wanted, you know how I feel about Texas Toast. I
do.
I believe I probably hold the record of the most Challenger owners, own Challengers.
I don't know,
but I love them, and I like the way you make guitars. And I had this idea for the V, and I had been hoarding limbo wood for years, and I still have some left, and brought it all out here. And you said you'd build this thing, and here it is. And
so this one has been going for quite a while. And so you spec'd. Wow, we didn't look at that. You can't even see that. We shouldn't even have that on there. Maybe
the only one I'm ever gonna do.
Maybe we made this one. Maybe we didn't. Now, so you dropped off a bunch of parts,
right?
And
just to be fair, this isn't staying on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll get it off of there. Don't you worry. Even if I have to destroy
Don't you worry. So, by the way, Chris is here. He's not on strike. We were coming down to the wire, and I'm like, well, hey, Bobby's here. Why don't we just force him in front of the camera?
Yes.
I mean, because that's kind of what we do, right? So, Chris, are you on strike?
I heard it.
No.
Okay, Chris isn't on strike, so Chris will probably be joining us here in a little bit, but yeah.
And this is his finished work on display. Look at the paint on this baby.
I tell you what, Chris does a damn good job, doesn't he?
It's a kind of a flat satiny finish, very slick. And my old one is nitrocellulose lacquer, which everybody loves, and it is sticky.
Oh.
And you're constantly cleaning it. You go to grab the neck, and it's like it's just horrible.
There are people here who are saying that they're not fans of V's, but this one could change their mind.
Yeah.
I submit to you, Jay and Andy the Saint, maybe you guys are V guys and you just don't know you're V guys.
Here's the deal about a V. It is probably one of the most odd guitars to play sitting down, but standing up, it is killer.
Okay.
It has great fret access. It balances great on a neck where everything falls. You don't have to reach for it. It really is unique the way they play, and you got to try one. You absolutely got to try one.
Let's take a quick super chat from our good buddy Joey Dano Guitars. He says, "Good evening, Toasters," and God bless you, Doug. Thank you so much, sir. Andrew St. Pierre says that Chris, you're a wizard. He says GD wizard, but yeah. So yeah, and you are. Hey, by the way, when's Andrew St. Pierre going to come out and see us? Bobby Dill drove 2,000 miles to come out here.
Yeah.
Like he started in the Atlantic Ocean and made his way out here.
Snowstorm and everything.
You know that really long road that goes from Alaska down to the tip of South America? That's the road he took to get here. Yeah. Yeah. Good day pressure washing. Okay. So anyway, Bobby, tell us let's talk about flying V's and what the inspiration was and how cool flying V's are, because they are.
Like I
cool.
said, I've always liked them, but I can see people tapping on the keyboards right now, but I just like the way you guys built this. I like the way you do the neck joint. I like your fretwork and the personality of this guitar. Even though it looks like my original one very much, it does not play the same. This plays like a Texas Toast guitar. Yeah, and that ain't a bad thing. No, and I like the finish. We did binding. It's hard to tell, but it has tortoiseshell binding on it. And it just has a lot of cool. It's Hipshot tuners. They stay in tune. The old Plusons on my old one are, iffy. And this one has PRS pickups and pots because I'm a PRS guy also. And I just love it. I just absolutely love it.
So
it's lightweight.
Hang on, let's take a quick super chat from Sir David Dangerous, who says Brian made him do it, and we even have stickers. I don't know if you can see that. Can you hold that up into the thing, Chris?
Tell me when to stop.
Keep going. 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 That's pretty good. Now, angle there. Little more. So there, you can see it there. Brian made him do it.
So I want to know what guitar that is that he's holding.
I don't know.
It looks like he's wearing a Wham shirt.
We're gonna have to ask Paul and see if we can get some clarification on that.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's
put one of those on the back of your V if you want.
If you want to, yeah.
But I tell you what, you guys are going to sign this thing before I leave.
Okay.
And you can sign it front, back, anywhere you want to. I don't care.
All right.
Because you're going to have to own it. You made it.
So my original my recollection of this was you came and said, I want you to build me a 58 Flying V, but I want you to do it right.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Well, there were
several things that you wanted us to do.
I wanted
which
to do
I had
different.
completely forgotten about when it came time to.
I remember the 7-degree angle headstock was the big one.
That was a big one. A volute. I like a volute.
Yeah, I remember the volute.
There was a number of things. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, of course. I wanted the binding.
You wanted ebony fretboard.
I wanted ebony fretboard, and now the lettering was not originally in the deal. That came. I think. Do you think everybody knows the story by now?
Probably not, but let's tell it. But first, let's say hi to Michael Beckloff, who says, "Great to see you, Bobby."
It's great to be here.
Have you met the Beckloffs?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. They're in Kansas as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Where at?
They're
Kansas City, Missouri.
They're in Missouri.
Well, they're similar.
Okay.
Kansas City, Kansas.
One guy told me nobody lives in no, they're in Kansas City, Kansas.
I thought they were in Kansas. Yeah.
And somebody told me nobody lives in Kansas
Overland Park.
Missouri.
Michael says Overland Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I was just up there. Matter of fact, I was just up there. I go up there to get my wife and I get our bike service up there. In Kansas City. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay.
But you want to tell the story about this inlay?
Well, yeah. So originally you wanted it to say.
Originally, it was just going to be dot inlays.
Was it?
The very original. And then you guys were doing this. You got your machine and you were telling everybody, man, you need to have fancy inlays now. And so you were saying, if you're really cool and you're committed, you need to have your name on it.
And you're cool and you should be committed.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, let's go for it. And then this smart ass over here.
So I was going to say Bobby Dill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was what you asked for.
And then, like I said, this smart ass over here sends me an email and it has the letters. He'd cut them out, but they hadn't been put on yet. And he just was playing with the arrangements and came up with a little Bobby D. He goes,
yeah.
What do you think about this? And I told my wife.
At which point I think you thought we'd already done it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I said, what do you think about the idea of little Bobby D on the neck? And she says, oh, hell no. And I'm like, well, I thought it was a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And so a few days later, I showed her the email and she just kind of stared for a moment. She goes, oh yeah, that's cool. And so I called you guys back and I said, yeah, we got to do it.
We got to do it. Yeah.
It's kind of like you're a 50s rockabilly kid.
Yeah.
And you're so small that everybody calls you Little Bobby D.
Yeah. That's it. That's
it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Little Bobby D.
Presenting.
And then you, yeah.
Lauren, I did get your email. We'll talk about it in email conversation later on.
I just like to hug it.
Yeah. Oh, it's perfect for that. Okay.
But
So
it's not very heavy. It's
It's actually very light.
Very light. Yeah.
let's talk about the genesis of the Flying V. When did they come out, Bobby?
Well, they actually, I think the first release was in '58.
Okay.
So according to records, and people can prove me wrong, there were 99 of them made.
Okay.
And the last one left the Gibson factory in 1966. They couldn't sell them. They said that store owners would buy them and hang them up from the ceiling like an arrow to point to where
Like
the
a
music
crazy.
is.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's some famous players. Lonnie Mack had number 7.
Well, now I don't know if you know this, but Brian Duncan took a picture of a Bigsby number 7 Bigsby on your Flying V.
and that was cool.
I guess it didn't go over very well.
I thought it was cool. Probably one of the more famous ones was Ray Davies or Dave Davies. I can't remember. I always get the two turned around. And from the Kinks, who had one, and they were doing a tour in the 60s, and he had a guild that he was playing. They got lost in airport luggage.
Okay.
And so he went to the music store. He needed a fast replacement, and couldn't find anything. And he asked the guy in the store, said, "What's that weird looking case?" He said, "It's some strange looking guitar." And it was a '58 Flying V, and he bought it for $75. And it got sold a few years ago. I think we brought a big chunk of money.
I bet, yeah.
But yeah. And if you see him play it on the Kinks Greatest Hits album, which I have on a record,
on a record,
he's holding it like this.
Yeah.
He's playing it like this.
Yeah.
But he's one of the famous players. Jay Giles from the Jay Giles band
Okay.
had one. There's a number of people.
I think
that
you're forgetting one of the most important guys.
I give up.
A certain King.
Oh yeah, but his
was made by didn't Dan Erlewine build him one?
yes.
Was it?
Well, they built him one. I don't know if it was.
I think he had one
I
originally.
think he did have one.
But his more famous one was the one that had a standard Gibson head.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that one.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, it's a regular
he's,
like an SG or a Les Paul headstock.
Yeah. King and Dick Dale, one of your heroes, they played upside down.
Yeah.
It was a right. Dale is left-handed, and so you could play, a right-handed person can play his guitar because it was strung that way.
Yeah.
I mean, Albert King's was upside down too.
Now I'm sure someone's already saying this, but I think ZZ Top or I think Billy Gibbons has one on the Fandango album cover.
There's a number of people have it. Eddie Van Halen had one.
No, but I'm pretty sure if anyone has an original, it's Billy Gibbons.
He probably has more than one.
Yeah, maybe.
Bonamassa probably has.
I
know
he
has one
at
for
least
sure.
one,
He has Amos, which is a famous one, and
it's a famous Amos.
There you go. There's a photograph of Amos had the music store back in the 50s, and he's standing on top of the store holding that guitar.
Oh, okay.
And that's the one that Bonamassa got. And they make an Epiphone version of it now.
So they made them in 58, and I know for a fact they reissued them in 82 or 83. Do you remember when? 82?
Late 82. Yeah.
And I want to say there was I think I remember reading somewhere there was 217 of them made.
That could very well have been.
And I know for a fact that there was one at Randy's Music Mart in Amarillo, Texas in 1986.
Yeah.
And for all I know, it's still in Amarillo, Texas somewhere.
Yeah.
There was also a modern of that same year, same run.
Yeah. I actually put a deposit down on one of those moderns, and I ended up buying something else, and I don't know why I did. I mean, I don't even remember what I bought. But yeah, it was brand new, and it was $500.
Now, you weren't a super huge fan of the 82 Vs.
No.
What was wrong with the 82
Well,
Vs?
there was a couple of things. Now, your neck joint is different than a Gibson.
Yeah.
And the way the Gibson one, kind of has, like the historic one, this comes clear down and kind of molds into here.
Yeah.
But the 82 had the shoulders, but it went straight across like the 67 and newer. So there wasn't much supporting the neck, and they were very rubbery.
Okay.
Feeling. And the other thing, the most thing that I didn't like is it's the chevron grain goes with At 82s, the grain went up and down.
It's they just
And
glued.
it was just weird looking. And then the strap buttons on the originals are like you've got it here, and it goes here, which we haven't put on yet.
Yeah.
And the 82s, they were at the end and on the back, and
Okay.
it was like I was so surprised because if anybody should have been able to make one that was exact, it would have
You
been Gibson,
would
you'd think.
imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Do you remember if the Moderns were? I mean, who knows what who knows? I mean, there's so many of the 58 Moderns still floating around. We don't know, but like, I wonder what those were like comparatively speaking.
I don't know. It would have been I don't know if it's a reshoe or was that the original.
Yeah, who knows? Who
but
knows?
the one I was going to buy, it was very, very nicely built, but it was a different kind of a joint, but it is one of those guitars that it was kind of divisive. People either loved it or hated it, and it was just so kooky. I liked it, I have an opinion on this. I could be totally wrong. They had the Explorer, they had this, and then I think the Modern was going to come after, and they designed it with the scoop here so it would go on your lap, which you couldn't do.
With a V. Yeah.
And so I think they were trying to solve that problem.
The 82 Vs had the grip stuff here. Did the original 58s have that too?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
And we've got some of that stuff.
And to be honest, it's more of a cosmetic thing because my old one has this on it, and it still slides.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna play one, you play it like that.
Remember the Steinberger thing where it was like the little kickstand that would flip out, so it would be like a waist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But when we decided to do this, I got a hold of a place in Germany, and that's where I got the tailpiece and the tacks, because that's the thing. And all these people that make copies and stuff is they use screws, and Gibson never used screws on the tailpiece. They were always these brass brads.
Chris, what'd you say about the wire brads?
They suck. Trying to put them in.
Well, actually, he said if you can use nails.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
use
yeah,
nails.
yeah,
Why would you want to? Yeah. A screw is just a nail with threads.
Anybody can screw a screw,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
nail,
nail is the way to go.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever used a nail on a guitar.
Yes. And those are the most expensive nails you'll ever buy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
Yeah. I figured they were fairly fragile, so I put them in fairly gently.
Yeah. You have to kind of drill first. And
I drilled and yeah. Figured,
Yeah, but anyway, it has the essence of the original guitar, but to me, it has features that I like better. And I've had my old one for so long, I know what I like and what I don't like.
Okay.
And I really, again, you're going to have people that are going to probably disagree with you, but I really think that massive headstock angle is just one more complication when it comes to tuning.
I think so too.
And my Texas Toast guitars stay in tune. Period. Even without locking tuners, they just work. And I just like it. And the volute, I think maybe it adds strength. I just think it's cool.
It might add a little. I mean, yeah.
And
as if that weren't enough.
We got. I don't know if that's going to show up.
the camera's here.
I don't know, but I don't.
Yeah, can we? Yeah, we'll get it if you get it in the.
All right.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you should be able to see that there.
I tried to center up that.
Yeah, custom built for Robert Dill by Texas Toast. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, and the serial number it starts with an 8 like a 58, but it's got the last two numbers are mine and my wife's birthdays.
That's cool.
And my old V coincidentally ends with my wife's birthday and my dad's birthday.
That's pretty neat.
And so I made a rubber stamp so we could stamp it like Gibson did, and made Chris very nervous because
Chris made sure it was right. It was a handful of tests done, and
I did the same thing. I did the same thing before I shipped it, brought it in. I tested it and I thought, I hope he's better at it than I am.
So he even had a cutout of the headstock and where it needed.
Where it was to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I took it off of the old one, and
and I like lined it up and went, what? Hey, all right.
Yeah,
cool. I'm gonna let that dry for a few minutes before I shoot clear over.
Yeah, it looks absolutely perfect. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
I am going to all the time I have, I'm going to play this thing.
That's cool, man.
I have a display case that I made that hangs in the computer room, and this is going in the display case. For one, I can look at it all the time, and I can just snap it out of the case fast. And
That's
I
cool,
don't have
yeah.
to go hunt down the guitar case and get it out of there. It's right there.
Good. Yeah.
And this is not a piece of furniture. These things are tools. They should be used and played.
Absolutely.
And
they want to be played.
Sure. You know, it's like I said about my old gold Challenger that I sent in for you guys.
Mhm.
You know, it's dinged up and scratched because it gets played.
Mhm.
You know, and I think that's the way with a lot of vintage guitars. The best ones are the ones that got wear on them because they played the best.
Yeah,
I really believe that.
I think so,
Unless
too.
it's a forgotten one. That
I
got,
think there's a lot of forgotten ones.
Right.
Too,
And
that are
that
really good,
can
too.
happen.
but
yeah.
you know, there's good guitars and bad guitars made every day. And I think in the 50s, there were a few bad ones. They weren't all good.
Mhm.
You know?
Right.
And so it doesn't make any difference probably when you go to buy one because they have value. But I mean, I just think the good stuff gets played, you know, and it should be played. You know, it's you know, and I'm going to play the heck out of it.
So I'm going to read some stuff here. Jay is here. Steve is here. Lefty's here. Shark Air is here, and he says Andy Powell of Wishbone Ash.
Yes,
Flying V.
yes.
Silver Bushman is here. Loring is here. Joel says, "Hey Matt and Bobby, that sure is a sweet V you got there. It absolutely is, Joel."
And you know what's great about it?
Mhm.
It's mine.
Van Shank Guitar says, "Hey, Dastardly Dave is here. Dan is here. Pete C says his computer was apart for cleaning and noticed the time. Oh, Loring is here. Hey, Loring. Van Shank is here. And yeah, so okay. I think we're mostly caught up now. Well, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, you guys. We've got just about an hour to spend with you. And
I'm gonna step out of the picture.
Are you done? Okay.
I think
All
so.
right.
I think everybody knows about as much as they need to know. And anything else, they can look it up like I did.
Oh, well, okay. They can send you an email.
There
Yeah.
you go. And I can tell you,
LilBobbyD@gmail.com.
I can tell you something.
That's not it.
Good luck getting them to make you one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris says, you know, he doesn't dislike these, but you just assume never make another one.
Chris says he's never making another one again. I, on the other hand, might make one.
Yes,
but yeah.
I have a really nice limbo body blank and a neck blank.
What do you think about a Flying V icon? I'm not making that, but what do you think about it?
Hey, you know what? If you make it, somebody will love it. That's all there is to it. Somebody will love it.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, but will Chris love it?
Well, I don't know.
No,
I see that look, and I don't know.
Yeah, Chris is not. Chris is not like goofing around.
It doesn't matter what shape it is. It still paints the same, more or less.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
See, you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I'm gonna let you spray some SGs.
Yeah,
and let me know if
SGs
those
might be
paint the
one of
same.
Chris's least favorite ones to do.
Yeah. Well,
super sharp hooks and
yeah.
overlaps and stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, you
How
see,
did I get a run there?
yeah. Well, yeah. I know. I've decided that some of the guitars I've designed are designed around whether they are paintable.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know,
Uh-huh.
and some shapes should be maybe an oil finish. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
More. This has got an oil finish
Yes.
kind of.
There's
shape.
guitars I'm really good at painting, and there's others where I'm like, oh, I need to think about this for.
well, I can tell you what,
second.
like I said, I have 12 or 13 challengers.
Mhm.
I think 12 because that was it.
There's just one here.
And
you just gave one to Jim.
Oh yes. I
So,
did.
yeah.
so it's 11. But I can tell you that all the paint is good on those with no runs. No
Yeah.
hits, no runs, no errors.
That's right. Just like Johnny
I
Bench.
won't send those out, but
And you know, I've got some very unique ones. You know, like I said tonight, I have 4 prototypes
Mhm.
of the challengers, and they're just something. Guys, you just got to get one of these guitars. I'm telling you.
I'm going to say that you and Doug are probably neck and neck for
Yeah.
the most
He
of the
probably-
unique.
I think he owns more Texas Toast than me, but I think I own more challengers. than him.
Very well could be. Although he just bought a couple the other day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I can tell you that they're all the same, but they're not.
Mhm.
You know, they all have personalities, and there's something about them. And every time you make a change, it's been for the better. And one of the biggest things, even though I'm a glossy paint guy, I love these finishes.
I'm really glad to hear you say that, because that when Chris basically came up with this formula, I was immediately smitten, and I'm like, that's the guitar finish that I want on all the guitars from now.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. For one, they don't show fingerprints very much,
Mhm.
and everything slides off. They're easy to clean.
Yep.
Uh,
They feel good. They
yeah.
wear well. Yeah.
They just, and and if you're going to put any kind of color on them, you're going to have paint. If you do oil, I don't think you can really do much.
Yeah.
And it's basically with a Flying V, it has to be amber.
Mhm.
Period.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen them in other colors that are cool, but I mean, they got to be amber. They just got to be. If it's limba, it's got to be amber.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's and we've done a handful of limba. Actually, we've done a handful of limba V's with bursts, and I'm okay with them. But yeah. But I think my favorite is just the straight up amber. And if what you want is a burst, then get a burst. But
yeah. My old one is getting quite brown. And
is it?
Yeah, and I'm sure it but the finish is still kind of holding up. But like this is a little more golden. I really like it, and it's kind of what it looked like a number of years ago.
Okay,
but I think but lacquer, it does lacquer.
It's gonna yellow even. Yeah,
it's gonna chip and it's gonna do all the things that lacquer does.
All the good stuff lacquer does.
Well, I mean, you got to be careful what you clean them with, and that's the thing with these. You can just wash and wear, man.
Yeah,
wipe them down and go.
Yeah,
and I'm a drabby guy, and you don't have fingerprints on them.
I'm telling you, man, it is my absolute favorite finish, and we will still do gloss paint. Mike, if you're watching, I got your email about moving to Atlanta. Seal Beach Mike is actually moving, so his guitar is not ready to ship tomorrow or anything, but he paid extra for gloss finish. Yes. A lot of people think like, hey, how come you don't do gloss paint? Well, we're happy to do gloss paint.
Sure.
How come you don't do stainless frets? We're happy to do stainless frets.
Everything has a price.
We're happy to do all that stuff, provided you are okay with paying for the upcharge to do it.
So. Yeah, you go to a restaurant, you want cheese on your hamburger, it's extra.
Yeah.
That's just how it is, And but I can just say from experience, I've got 2 or 3 challengers that have this kind of finish, and they're just so nice.
Yeah.
And this has got the grain is filled. It's got paint on them.
You know it when you pick it up and play it. Yeah.
It's not open port, and that neck will just get smoother and smoother and smoother the more you play it. It will never ever be sticky unless you spill a beer or a soda on it.
Right.
Which we can help you with that.
And I know that from the challengers that I have with this. The more you play it, the nicer it is. And I can't say enough. You know me, I'm always fanboy with you guys, and you guys just do good stuff. And more people, I'm hesitant to say more people need to find out about you because I kind of like being in this business. You know what I mean? But yeah, more people need to find out.
Yeah.
And you're not going to regret it. You're not going to regret it. But like I said, if you want a Flying V, good luck.
I think
we'll build more.
Just not today.
Do you think that the Paul Reed Smith Explorer that Billy Gibbons has is a real Paul Reed Smith, or do you think that's something?
They did make a white Explorer.
I mean, I know that I've seen a picture of that. It's got the headstock, but I mean, the truth of the matter is that if you came to me and said, "Hey, I'm Billy Gibbons, I want this," every guy would fall all over themselves to make whatever Billy Gibbons.
There's a custom 22 that was made by a player that has a 6 on a side headstock.
Well, I think that the guy from Anthrax, not Scott Ian, but the other guy had a Paul Reed Smith. It was the regular custom shape, the classic PRS shape. Had a 6 on a 6 in line headstock.
So of course that was early days, and maybe they were more.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I'm sure if you got the money and to do a private stock, they'll build you
anything. As
long as it still looks enough like a Paul Reed Smith.
Yeah,
but they did a guitar for Eddie Van Halen trying to lure him in. That was a little different. So I mean,
Now I like that one, but I like the somebody took just a straight up PRS and did the red, white, and black stripy paint job on it. The one that they made for him, I thought was kind of.
It was red, wasn't it?
It was red, and it had one pickup, and it was kind of like wah wah. It was like it looked like. Hey, we're okay. If Eddie Van Halen came to us and said, "Okay, you know who I am, make the guitar make me a guitar,"
right?
Without any Eddie, but you can't paint it with the red, white, and black stripes. It'd be like, well, okay, I guess it'd be a Challenger with a Floyd, but
Yeah.
like it's.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that some of the appeal of his stuff was how I don't know how road worn it was. That's an interesting question. What if Eddie Van Halen were alive today and he walked through that door, Chris, and he said, "Guys, I want you to build me a guitar. What would it be?" Frankly, our Challenger shape is not dramatically different from the EVH Wolfgang.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
And I think a carved top one of those with a Floyd and one humbucker and that crazy paint job
And one volume.
and that may or may not work. Yeah, I just wire it right to the jack. Yeah. And I guess I would also know like now, like back before he died, stainless steel frets were like, I got to have stainless frets. Probably want to have a maple neck. Probably want to have some other stuff.
Sure.
I don't
Sure.
know, but
Yeah. But Eddie Van Halen sounded like he did because he was Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
Just kind of like Peter Green's guitar that's passed through hands. Everybody wants to have a Peter Green guitar. It's cool, but you're not going to sound like Peter Green.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. The artist they have a sound.
It has a lot to do with it.
The story that sticks in my head is Brian May. And his red guitar that's so unique. He was at NAMM one year, and he has Burns trisonic pickups in it. And he was at the Burns stand, and what's his name from the Shadows?
Hank Marvin.
And he had a signature model Burns, and they were jamming up on stage, and they swapped guitars. And Brian May says when Hank was playing my guitar, he didn't sound like me. He sounded like Hank.
It didn't sound anything like me. Yeah.
And so a lot of you got your heroes that you follow. I'm a huge fan of Rory Gallagher, and I've owned some Strats, and I guarantee you I do not sound like Rory.
I bet you if I was playing his guitar, I wouldn't sound anything like him. On my best day.
There's a lot of things that make a difference on a guitar, but guys, so much of the tone and the playability is in what it is, you're a Dick Dale fan. If I had a Dick Dale signature guitar, I know I wouldn't sound like him.
I can't sound like him.
Yeah.
I've tried. Cannot do it.
Yeah. He made a comment. I went to a concert in the Cotillion in Wichita, and he was talking about his guitar. He says, "Yeah, if you're right-handed, you can play my guitar because it's strung upside down." He says, but he says it's got some pretty heavy strings that are set pretty high. He says Eddie Van Halen couldn't play my guitar. And so everybody's got their thing. They're all good in their own way, and the fact that they're different is what's cool about them.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to be a lemming.
No. Yeah. If all the world is a song and you get to add a verse, you might as well make it be something that's unique to you.
That's right.
Dare to be exactly the same is what so many people do, and so
it's so easy.
And
my father, he was a guitar player, and he got me started. One of his things was, you don't make the mistake of letting the world judge you because you'll never live up to it. He says, only you know whether you're a success or not. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
If you want it, you got to go for it. And his favorite saying was "do or do without." And that's the way it was. My mom's favorite saying was, "Young man, get your ass up and don't you give up." And that stuck to me. Stuck to me to this day. They were so different. But,
what I'm convinced Joy's favorite thing is to say? "Oh man, pew." I think it's something like that. Yeah. Pew.
Well, at least she knows it's you.
Yeah.
So hey, she's still hanging around, ain't she?
That's right.
That's right. It's her fault from this point on.
Right.
It's like I've been married. Oh my gosh, I'm getting myself in trouble here. But it'll be 35 years in May.
Wow, cool.
And and my wife says probably because nobody else will have us, but so it's our fault at this point.
At this juncture, yeah.
You've had plenty of time to get out.
Yeah, figure out,
and plenty of time to straighten up, and things ain't gonna happen.
Clearly that's not happening.
And just like coming out here, Tuesday I said, "What's the weather like out west?" She said, "It's going to be clear for the next few days to Denver." She knew why I was asking.
And you're not driving home tonight.
No.
Okay,
I'm staying here tonight
all
instead of driving partway back. But I said, well, I was thinking about going out there. He says, you need to.
Yeah.
And so
Well, I'm sure glad you came out.
yeah, me too. And down here in the dungeon,
Uh-huh.
it's really cool down here.
Yeah, down in the secret, in the
Yeah.
the undisclosed location of the
The
secret bunker.
The vault.
Yeah.
And yeah, I never thought I'd get to see it.
But here we are. Here we are, baby.
So Chris, you want to swap with me?
Sure.
Okay. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Bobby.
Yes,
and we'll
and one more quick look, guys.
Yep.
Yeah, keep going.
Chris has got to get another beverage.
Another Coolio.
This is the coolest thing since sliced
It's
bread.
pretty excellent, that's for sure.
Yeah, and yeah. And I know that nobody else is going to want it because nobody has my name, so that just makes it anti-theft proof, right?
Oh no, it's totally theft proof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally theft proof.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So everyone's saying hey to you, Bobby, and safe trip home when you do decide to do whatever your
Thanks,
your
guys.
plan
And,
is. So
you guys have had some really nice comments, and life is short. You got to enjoy every moment of it.
Yeah.
And no whining.
No
whining.
whining.
There ain't no do-overs.
Okay.
So you might as well just do the best you can.
Thanks for hanging out with us,
Yep.
Senor. Joy and Loring both want to remind everybody to join the TTG 5280 group on Facebook and bring a friend. That is
Bring a friend.
Bring
two.
a fiend. So that is I think I'm done drinking but yeah, you can have mine.
No, I'll set it here.
Um,
Just in case.
So I one of the reasons, we have a Texas Toast page on Facebook and Instagram. There is but there wasn't a group that just anybody could see that was specific to the workshop participants and attendees. Yeah.
As far as I know, yeah, you're right.
So there was a group that you had to join.
Yeah, that was people that have already attended a class.
Yeah.
So it was a fairly small group.
Yeah.
I don't want to say small, but you had to. There were some prerequisites, and one of them was coming to a class,
Which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you had never been to a workshop before or a class before, and you're like, I wonder what it's like. What can I make when I'm there? You couldn't find any pictures easily.
Yeah. So the whole idea of there was lots of great information that was shared on the alumni page, but it was never shared on any place else. So people that weren't members, I mean, everybody that's already been here already knew how cool it was. Yeah. Right. So tried to.
Well, it was neat. Like if like say Brian Duncan wasn't in your class, but you wanted to see what he made last time, you could go on that page and
sure
or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, so we started a new group, a new page with current classes that anybody can see what's going on in current classes. Yeah, and it's cool, and if you've ever been curious about coming out for a class,
RVA Guitars just joined, so you can be classy like RVA Guitars.
There you go. Yeah. So
come on, what's the matter?
Yeah, and for
you
now,
could be cool too.
It's a brand new Facebook page, so it's not loaded up with a bunch of garbage and stuff, and you can go and look at class guitars, and it's really neat.
You are keeping it like there's not any like ads for
the whole
like manscaping or anything like that.
Not yet. Yeah, so that will happen. But,
men's grooming razor.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that it's all about Texas Toast classes.
Yeah.
And so far so good.
Lots of people are posting all the cool stuff. Like we had
all the stuff they built, all the stuff. Brian Duncan's an administrator. He always does a really good job of taking pictures and posting pictures on other pages, and that was one of the big deals.
Not to mention bringing donuts to workshops.
Yeah. And that was one of the big ideas was, well, Brian always posts all these great pictures. Yeah. But most people can't see him because they don't belong to this. It's a bummer because secret group, right? Yeah. So and there was no reason that everybody shouldn't be able to see him. Sure. It was just the way that it worked. So here's pictures of all the cool stuff that we're doing in every class. And hopefully someday somebody will sign up and they will say, I was on Facebook and I saw pictures of this class and I thought that seems like a really fun thing
I
to do.
want to do that. Yeah. I bet you're right.
Yeah. That'll happen sooner than later.
So Chris, the purpose for today's live stream, well, I kind of punted at the very, very, very end.
I didn't even see what the title was.
It was Cold Weather and the Art of Guitar Maintenance.
Oh, okay.
So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get back to your questions, your statements, whatever like that.
Okay.
I'll come over to the thing here and read off. Dan says, "Hey Chris." Sean says, "Great guitar, Bobby." RVA Guitar says he just joined, and he says they just joined, and I'm so classy. Lauren Court says, "Garbage post, challenge accepted. You'll get booted." Butch Landry says, "When are the secret members only Patreon videos starting?" Very soon, Butch. I'm recording them right now, and I want to have a bunch of them done so that I can do
so you can do a dump.
Yeah, well, I want to do one every day for a long time.
But then at the end of the week, you can watch as many as you
want.
Yeah, and not be like, when's the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can binge them. So what are some things that often come up with cold weather and guitar maintenance? And the obvious one is, of course,
humidity.
That's right, especially
Did
here
I get
in
it
Colorado.
right?
You absolutely did.
Oh, good.
Especially here in Colorado.
Yeah. So you wouldn't think this. As it gets colder, even though there's snow, it gets drier.
Way drier,
especially here in Colorado, where our humidity is never very high.
Yeah.
But in
somehow it gets even less.
Yeah. And I guess if you're like a weather person and you understand that stuff, then you're like, well, this is why it happens.
It's not that odd.
Yeah, no, it's not. But yeah, things dry out in the winter months.
Yeah.
And so you need to be prepared for that.
So if your guitar is stored in a non-climate controlled environment, it is very likely that you will need to do some stuff to keep it, you're there to adjust a handful of things to keep it playing properly.
Yes. Mainly truss rod and tuning. And as soon as, you play your guitar every day and you're like, wow, this guitar is great. I love it. This is so great. And one day you pick it up and you're like, clank, 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 clank. That's humidity and that's truss rod.
The guitar is still great.
Yeah. Don't worry. Not time to sell. But
my guitar got lousy overnight.
Yeah.
No, it just
time for reverb. Yeah. So you have to know how to adjust the truss rod.
Now, it is very likely that something could change. Like it's probably it doesn't really change overnight, but one day you're playing it, the next day it's fretting out. It's not an unheard of thing.
Yeah.
Depending on what guitar you have and how the neck is made and things like that.
Yeah.
But a quick adjustment of the truss rod is really all that's needed. And we talked a lot about truss rods today. Now, as you know, Chris, truss rods are one of my favorite topics.
Max never talks about truss rods.
I always. So, there are people that are going to say, the original Fenders didn't have truss rods. And
there was like a dozen.
Yeah, except for the ones that Music Zoo tried to replicate. Remember that in probably like
the snake
2014, 2015. And talk about the dumbest idea ever. That is the stupidest idea, I think, of all time.
Yeah.
We're going to make this dumb thing and we're going to convince everybody it's rad because there was some that got made in the 50s that were like this, but almost immediately, even Fender was like, well, we can't do that. Yeah. So what was the deal? What was the deal with no truss rod?
So initially, Leo Fender, that's one of the reasons that they used maple for the neck is he decided that he didn't feel like, he thought that would be rigid enough to not require a truss rod. And a truss rod was a very, very new idea.
Yeah.
Then, so much so that he didn't want to pay patent fees to Gibson to use a truss rod.
Okay.
For each guitar that they made, they were going to have to pay a fee. They were going to have to pay a charge. And he didn't want to do that. And he thought he could design a neck made out of the world's hardest wood.
Sure. Ipe.
Yeah.
He didn't use Ipe?
No.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge. The world's hardest wood that he could get economically.
Oh, okay.
And, making it thick and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
It would be fine.
Those early guitars had thick necks.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
And almost immediately, director of sales, Don Randall, said, these need to have a truss rod in them. And Leo said, no. And there's a fairly famous picture of a rather large man at the Fender factory. They have 2 chairs and a neck, and he's standing on it. I don't know what this proves.
I don't know either.
Other than the chairs are really strong or the guy is really big.
The guy's really light.
Yeah. But that neck is swayed.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, most of the guitars they built that didn't have a truss rod went bad almost instantly, and they ended up replacing those necks with necks that had truss rods.
Now,
that's a true story.
Before you say my this, that, or the other has no truss rod, or Bill Kirchner has no truss rod in his pine neck.
Yeah.
Remember, a truss rod isn't designed to move the neck.
Yeah.
It's designed to hold the neck in one place.
Yeah.
Now, that's not just me saying that. Okay. Right. The one true and holy, everybody respects his opinion. Dan Erlewine says that, not me. Okay. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can take Dan Erlewine's word for it. And I don't
know what you get for not having a truss rod. I mean, some sort of like special club, like the Texas Toast alumni page
or Facebook page, new Facebook page.
No, the old one.
Oh yeah.
It's a special club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Texas Toast alumni and no truss rod page.
Yeah, and
I don't know what you get for not having a truss rod.
A ride on the short bus.
My neck doesn't have a truss rod.
Yeah, big deal.
Yeah, so what?
You know what?
Deal. Yeah, my car doesn't have a reverse.
Well, that's what Bobby Dill was saying earlier. Yeah.
yeah, whatever. Yeah. My bicycle has 2 flat tires. Yeah. I still ride it.
It's still fine. The problem is,
and so your guitar doesn't have a truss. Okay, your guitar doesn't have a truss rod.
Yeah.
How's it play? Oh well, you can't play it. It hangs on the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So yeah. Anyway. Okay. So let's talk about truss rods. So you can have a no adjustable truss. You can just have a great big bar in there.
You can, and that's a real thing.
And that's a truss rod.
Steel reinforced neck.
Carbon fiber, graphite.
Sure. Lots and lots of guitars are made.
Yep.
With a steel reinforced neck.
I-beam or
a comment once that the Dan Electros came with a little pamphlet, kind of like an owner's manual, showing you how to adjust the neck. It had a metal rod in, unadjustable. They said put it across 2 kitchen chairs and lean into it with your knee to bend the neck.
Yeah,
to bend the rod to keep the wood straight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds right. Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Fender used to have a little German scientist.
A little cartoon scientist.
Scientist that talked with a German accent. It's easy to adjust Zune truss rod.
Yeah.
Just first loosen
the Fender neck is so
Z
easy
neck
to
bolts.
adjust.
I think loosen Z neck bolts is actually in words. Yeah.
Okay.
It's easy
and fun.
Yeah.
All right. So if you've got a non-adjustable truss rod, you still have a truss rod.
Yeah.
But far and away, the adjustable truss rod is your friend.
It is.
Now there are the single acting truss rod is fairly straightforward. It acts singularly, hence the name single acting.
Yep.
And all it does is straightens back bow. No, up bow. It adds back bow. Is what I'm trying to say.
Turns a smiley face into a frowny face.
Yeah.
But under string tension.
Yeah. And it doesn't do a lot.
No.
Now, okay, trick question.
Okay.
What if you have a bow going the other way and you have a single acting rod? Then what do you do?
Well, I think we talked about this earlier,
Mm,
right?
We didn't.
We did.
No, we didn't.
No.
Actually.
So say it again. Single acting rod.
Yep. But
Uh-huh.
you've got the bow is going the wrong way.
So frowny face.
Uh-huh.
Okay. You could put on heavier strings.
It's one way to go.
You could have a guy put a whole bunch of heat on that neck and hopefully straighten it out that way.
Know what else you could do? If you're fortunate enough to have a Hamer made in the 70s, they would have a single acting rod and they would crank on it and build in a bunch of frowny face. They would then level the board and put the radius on so that you could loosen it and actually have it go the other way.
Yes.
So it's kind of a sneaky way to do it, but you know, the guys at Hamer knew a lot about build.
Yeah.
They know those guys knew a lot more about making guitars than most people in 2024 make.
Yeah.
Than they know.
I think back in the old days when strings were so heavy, there was no such thing as back bow.
Yeah.
You know, you just
If
if anything, every single neck was tightened to within an inch of its life for the other direction.
Didn't even little Les Paul Juniors, the entry levels, didn't they come with 12s on them or something?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. 1256 was the standard, standard gauge. Lights, yeah.
So some people are talking about aluminum necks. You know, I've had a couple of aluminum neck instruments, a couple of the Kramer ones, and gosh, I love them. No truss rod at all because the neck's made out of metal. People are like, oh, that would be heavy. That would be really hard to play in the cold. I can tell you that regardless of whether it's hot or cold, and of course it's exacerbated by extreme hot or cold, those guitars heat up as you play them. So let's say it's 98.6 degrees outside. Your hand is going to still heat the neck up as you play it. And it's going to be, I loved it. I loved those guitars. I love the Travis Bean guitars. And I still think they're cool, but I think wood is still, there's people who are going to go, no, modulus graphite is better or whatever. But I still think wood is the best guitar.
With the different temperature gauge change shape though?
They can, they could change shape. They were all bolted. And the Travis Bean, remember the Travis Beans looked like 335s. Some they had some other ones too.
They went all the way through the bottom. Most of the way through.
They went halfway through. The Kramer ones were more like Fenders in that they ended fairly abruptly, as I recollect. And they had like an I-beam shape, and they had like this kind of wood fiber stuff along the sides that would always shrink.
I was going to say, I like the way the wood would shrink inside the aluminum neck.
Yeah, it was like a laminate of I don't know, oak or something, whatever it was, and there was some other crud in the middle of it, foam or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so far and away though, Chris, the double acting rod that we use, that is now the standard by which truss rods should be judged.
I believe so. Yes, I believe the truss rod we use is the same truss rod that many other people use, many other companies use.
That's right.
All, love them, talk wonderfully about them, and there's I don't see any downside for something that adjusts every direction you want it to without very much work at all.
Yeah, buy one. The price isn't even.
Yeah, they're economical.
Not particularly expensive.
They're fairly small. They don't take up a lot of room.
Easy to install.
Yeah, the color is nice. The tape on it. The shrink wrap. Yeah, it's just
What are some disadvantages with those rods?
With those rods, well, you have to have a 4mm Allen wrench.
Okay, yeah.
Not a lot of people have those.
There are some disadvantages, and that's some of them is that if you decide to make, people ask me this all the time. Hey, what length truss rod should I get? Well, it kind of depends on what neck you're going to use.
Yeah,
how long your neck is, how short your neck is, because remember, it's going to move the most in the middle.
It is.
So the truss rods that we get,
the point in which it starts to move.
Yeah.
So I would say use the longest one that will fit your neck. I
Mhm.
think that's the right answer.
Yeah.
So we make 22 and 24 fret necks,
Mhm.
24 and 3/4. I have made some 20 fret 24 and 3/4 necks.
Using the
That's out.
17 and a
No, it won't fit. It's
Yeah.
too long.
Yeah.
I have to use the slightly shorter
Yeah.
one. So Matt, what size truss rod should I use for my 20 fret 24 and 3/4 inch neck? It's the 16 and a half.
Yeah, you have to measure and find
you have
out.
to, you have to go, well, I want the truss rod to end here, and now I'm going to measure out this way. 17 and a quarter is too long. It's going to pop out the back.
Yeah.
So you can't do that.
Joey Dano, aka Doug Santaniello, says,
I know
"What about
that.
a Gibson with a twisted neck?" Gosh,
Well,
twisted neck is a whole nother
Yeah,
thing.
truss rods don't fix twist.
Which is funny because I think a lot of people think that truss rods do, and I blame Rickenbacker. We're going to put 2 truss rods in this neck to make sure it's extra stable. It doesn't make the truss rods don't make the
Well,
neck
I think that whole idea was so that they could get both actions, right? Am I wrong?
No, they were both going the same way. Yeah,
Well, then that's dumb.
it is dumb.
Yeah. All right. And really, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Although I want to say that some Rickenbackers, correct me if I'm wrong, were like the Mosrite. You could pull the rod out and put it in the other way so that you could adjust it.
Yeah.
So you
I think
could
that's
make
a
it
thing.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you have a twisted neck, yeah, it's just the wood is probably just doing its thing.
It's going to be a guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bummer. It is a
It is
guitar
a
right
bummer.
now. Yeah.
Sometimes they're lamps.
So sometimes they become lamps. That's right. So, guys, we are just about ready to run out of time, but can end a truss rod at the 14th fret works well. Yeah, absolutely. Because remember, like I said, the maximum amount of truss rod movement is going to be in the center of the rod, and but the maximum amount of neck movement is probably going to be somewhere not exactly in the center of the rod.
Yeah.
So,
well, you've got heel, and you've got
heel's not going to move nearly as much, but although it will move some.
Yep.
So yeah. Well, anyway, gang. So I have an event that I am going to zip off to. But thanks for hanging out with us. I encourage all of you watching tonight. First of all, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you to Bobby Dill for coming out and hanging out with us in the shop today.
Having me, guys.
Absolutely. And we will be. Do we have a reveal for tomorrow?
Maybe.
Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. Why not? Okay. Why not? So anyway, I urge you to go and check out Dylan's channel, and he and his lovely wife Leslie are going to be hanging out with you for the next 2 hours. Tell them that your buddies at Texas Toast sent you, and we will see you tomorrow for some kind of reveal. So thanks for hanging out with us, you guys. We will see you tomorrow.
You are right.